Morning, and thank you so much for being here. We're going to start this practice in Sukhasana pose. So come to your easy pose, whatever comfortable leg is in front. Sit that way. And then just allow your eye gaze to become soft and maybe even let your eyes close if that is comfortable for you and does not feel too vulnerable. And then find just a little bit of a shift in your body from side to side, just starting to explore what your body feels like this morning, where the weight seems to be heavier, where you seem to have a little bit more levity. And then see if you can kind of split the difference in all directions until you find a pretty stable seat. And if you need to make any adjustments, like hands to your thighs to move skin away, do what you got to do. And then find that stillness, a place where not swaying so much and finding a bit of equality from front to back, side to side, and lifting up to the crown of your head. With every inhale, grow taller, and every exhale, imagine that you're pressing down through your seat into your mat and letting your knees drop a little bit further, closer to your mat. Finding a little more relaxation through your muscles, through your heart, through your thoughts on the exhales. This is going to be a gratitude practice, and so I invite you to follow along with me with the intention of acknowledging our gratitude and allowing that to transform into our physical movement and turning this into a moving meditation. Of course, if something else really speaks to you, then please take this practice in the way that you need it. I'd like to begin also doing Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. And so if you took Allison's class yesterday, we also did this toward the beginning of class. If you prefer to take a different kind of meditation or pranayama right now, then please take your position. And if you'd like to practice with me, first lift up your right hand, pull your first two fingers in towards your palm. You'll place your thumb on the outside of your right nostril. Breathe in. Use your ring finger to plug up the left nostril, open up through the right, and exhale. Take a deep inhale into that nostril. Right thumb to place, release the left nostril, exhale. Continue to breathe in slowly from side to side. And still through every inhale, growing taller, more expansive, and every exhale, more grounded, softer, more receptive. Allow yourself one more round, ending on the exhale through the left nostril. And once you've completed that, release your hands down to your thighs. Breathing fully through both nostrils, shoulders release down. Expansion on inhales, grounding and gratitude on your exhales. Bring your palms to touch in front of your heart, thumbs in toward your sternum, bow your head to your heart. One inhale to gather up that dedication that you've set. And then exhale to release it. Take your hands back to your thighs, lift up your head, and then flutter your eyelids open. We're going to start with a forward fold here. So if you'd like, you can switch out your legs, still staying in a Sukhasana. So maybe you've got the more awkward leg in front, or maybe you already started with the non-dominant leg. So on an inhale, reach up your arms, point your pinkies toward each other, get up as high as you can, And then on an exhale, you're going to tilt forward. And then eventually your back will round. Just let your head drop. If it's not too uncomfortable, you can allow your head to float in space. You might have the flexibility where your head touches the mat. However, if you find that your head floating in space is uncomfortable for you, you can stack your fists and then place them underneath your forehead so that you have support. In this forward fold position, just like we did toward the beginning of class, maybe you notice that your weight tends to shift to one side more than the other. And with each exhale, maybe you can come 1/4 of a millimeter closer down, releasing even more fully, perhaps feeling more relaxation across the back of your neck and going up all the way through the top of your skull down to your forehead. And then keeping your head heavy, if your palms are up, flip them down toward the mat, start to press your way up. So then eventually you're going to roll your way up, your shoulders stack over your hips, and then eventually your head stacks up as well. We talked a little bit about the different ways that we can bend our spines. We're going to get through a bit of that right now. So on an inhale, reach your arms out and up, send your gaze up toward your thumbs, and you're going to twist to the left. Take your right hand to the top of your left thigh, left fingertips behind you, a little bit more weight to your right hip as we turn to rock over to the left. Rise on inhales, deepen the twist on the exhales, soften through the muscles in your face. Then take your head back to center, inhale, arms left, deep breath in. Exhale, full twist to the opposite direction. Use the resistance of your fingertips to assist with the twist. A little tension of your belly as you twist to help you through. And then take your head back to center, arms lift, inhale. Keep your hands lifted, and you're going to flip your palms away from you, and you're going to cross at your wrists. So notice which wrist is in front of you, and just press your hands together. Don't need to interlace fingertips, just press palms together. Maybe shrug your shoulders back so you're pointing your fingertips straight up. If your ribs jut out, pull them in. I know this gets intense. And then keeping your hands as tight together as you can, start to send your elbows out to the sides. So pressing palms together, elbows out, soften through the jaw, pull your floating ribs in, lift up to the crown of your head. All right, lift all the way up, unravel your hands, take it all the way down, feel the blood rush back. And then inhale, take it up toward the ceiling again. Flip your palms away from you. Opposite wrist in front, palms together. Again, maybe shrug your shoulders back so that your biceps are closer towards your ears. This may or may not happen, no sweat. And then start to draw your elbows away from each other while still pressing your palms together. Soften through the back of your neck. Drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth. All right, then lift up, unravel, swing your arms all the way down, feel the blood rush back, and then roll over onto your hands and knees for a tabletop position. So we're going to take a few rounds of cow and cat, and then we're going to get into a more dynamic flow. So inhale, drop your belly, hips up, reach your heart forward, fingertips spread wide. Open up through your heart space, then on an exhale, start to bow to yourself. Pull your hips towards your ribs, bring your chin towards your chest. Inhale, sweep your heart forward again, deep breath in. Exhale, press it back. One more time like that. All right, and so then come back to your tabletop pose, and we're going to take a few C shapes here. So on an inhale, you're going to start to reach your right shoulder towards your right hip. Drop your belly like you're coming through a cow pose. Cycle your hips all the way around and your chin like you're drawing a circle until your left shoulder and your left hip start to reach. Exhale, arch through your spine like cat. And then on the inhale, send everything to the right again, kind of like you're making these huge arcs with your hips and your shoulders and your chin. Exhale, draw down. One more time in that direction. Start to feel the shifting between your joints. You might feel a lot in your femurs. And then after you get back to that cat shape, we're going to shift it to the other side. Inhale, take it to the left shoulder and hip, arc all the way to the right. See how much you can articulate each shift that you've got here. And then just once more. And then once you come back to that cat shape, Come back to neutral spine, toes together, knees a little bit wider, press back to your child's pose. We're gonna take a really active child's pose here. Reach your arms out in front of you, come up onto your fingertips. Inner elbows reach up toward the ceiling as you pull your hips toward your heels. Inhale, and then exhale, soften everything. Get soft, relax, offer gratitude out. Then press up to your hands and knees once again. Realign your knees and hips and ankles on one line so you can take a cow-cat flow. Shift your hips back to your heels, arms out in front of you in a modified child's pose. Inhale, rise to your knees, palms lift up, slight back bend. Keep your core engaged, draw your tailbone down towards your heels. Exhale, modified child's, come forward again. Inhale, keep your heart low, slither forward to a cow pose. Exhale, press up into your cat and shift the hips back to the modified child's. Inhale, rise to knees, slight back bend, even palms press. Exhale, bow and offer. Inhale, heart comes forward to honor. Exhale, press up into your cat pose, and we'll do that once more, hips back to heels. Inhale to rise. Exhale to offer gratitude and bow. Inhale to honor, reach forward, heart open. Exhale, press up into your cat pose. Tuck your toes, press your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. So first downward facing dog of this class. I don't know if it's your first one today. It is fine. So take a little bit of time to explore the pose. We've already done a little bit of moving through our hips, and so maybe see how that manifests differently in this orientation. Take a check-in. Is anything getting tight? Maybe bob your head yes and no. And depending on how you're feeling today, you might say, I need to end on positive, or you might say, I need to say no. Take a full deep breath in and a full exhale. Lift up high to your toes, roll to the top of a plank pose, extend your heart forward, look forward. And then on an exhale, take your chin to your chest, puff up your back, roll up and back all the way to your downward facing dog. And then bend your knees deeply, look towards the top of your mat, and then heel toe your way all the way to the top of the mat, forward fold. 3 times, we're going to take a halfway lift. Breath in, fingertips into the mat or your shins, look forward. And then exhale, hinge at your hips. It's okay to have bent knees on or down. Once again, inhale, offer. Exhale, offer gratitude to yourself. Once more like that. Deep breath in, offer out. Exhale, release. Take your hands to your hips, point your elbows up toward the ceiling. Just roll your shoulder blades on your back, chin out. Inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, arms alongside your body in Tadasana. Rise to your toes. So lift up your heels. And maybe feel a little shifting from side to side. This might feel a little bit more dramatic and accentuated. And when your heels are down, you might feel that you flow a little bit from side to side, front to back. Tiny adjustments that we're constantly making throughout the day that maybe we're not so aware of. And then here, maybe even start to close your eyes. You might find it pop open when you start to wobble. It's okay. And then release your heels down to the mat. Blink your eyes open if they had shut. Palms lift, inhale, send up your chin. Exhale, forward fold once again, hinge at your hips, take it all the way back down, release your hands down. Inhale, fingertips to shins or your mat, look forward. Exhale, fold, step back to top of plank pose. And then knees up or down, lower all the way down to your belly, elbows grazing your rib cage. Untuck your toes. We're going to take a wide cobra, so take your hands off of the mat, point your elbows up, and then on an inhale, lift up, press through your fingertips and the tops of all of your toes. Keep your belly strong, and then exhale, wave it all the way back down. Bring your hands back in close to you, tuck your toes, and either through chaturanga or hands and knees, make your way back to downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Full exhale to release. On your next breath in, lift your right leg up toward the ceiling. We're going to stay in this tripod dog for just a couple breaths. Lift up to the inside of your right thigh. Feel your left hip draw back. And maybe you can even find a little bit of levity through the heels of your hands. So you really are grounding down through your big finger mound, your index finger, and the pinky mound. All right, on your next exhale, pull your knee to your chest and place your foot between your hands towards your right thumb. Drop your left knee down. Inhale, arms come up, back toes tucked or untucked for your Anjaneyasana pose. Find a little bit of shrugging back so you can find quite a bit of open-heartedness here. And we're gonna move into this with some cactus arms. So inhale, prepare here. On an exhale, palms face forward, bring your elbows like they tap behind you. Keep squeezing your heel towards your left knee. Inhale, lift up, maybe come out of the deep end a little bit. Exhale, re-enter. One more time like that. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, re-enter. Stay here in this open heart pose. And then you're going to flip your palms down, come around, clasp your fingers. Notice which pinky's on the outside. Drop your knuckles, lift up your heart. And then keeping the scissoring of your thighs here. On an exhale, tilt forward. So your belly might come on top of your right thigh, or you might even come to the inside where your right shoulder is a little bit closer in towards your right knee. If you need more stability, come out of the deep end. Try to reach the heels of your hands toward each other. Just breathe. And then release your hands, take it down to the mat. Tuck your back toes to lift up the back knee. You're in a low lunge. More weight to your left palm, put your right fingertips up toward the ceiling. Low lunge twist. Inner left elbow is pointing toward the front of your mat. All right, spin all your toes over to the right. So you come onto the razor edge of your left foot. Lift up. You can stay here or side plank. Start to step the right foot back. Either stagger your feet or stack them. And if you're looking for just a little bit more here, reach your right arm up above your head so that your bicep is more along your ear, palm facing down, and breathe. All the lightness you can find, like you'd float away from your mat. And then on an exhale, take your right hand back down to the mat. If your right foot is forward, step it back. Press up and back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look towards top of the mat, and on an exhale, travel to the top of your mat, forward fold. 3 times, halfway lift, inhale, offer your heart. Exhale, honor yourself. Twice more to your own breath. And then when you are ready, press down and away with your feet for stability. Reverse swan dive, come up to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart. You'll take your arms back up toward the ceiling. Interlace your thumbs, bump your hips to the left, arc over to the right. Take it up to center, cross the interlacing of your thumbs, hips to right, arc over to the left. Strong belly here. Inhale, come up toward the ceiling, maybe even a slight back bend. Allow your hips to come forward slightly. Exhale, forward fold. Take it all the way down. Breath in, half lift. Exhale, fold. Step back to downward facing dog, or if you'd like to take a vinyasa, please take one. Any variation of a vinyasa that might speak to you. And from your downward facing dog, inhale, left leg comes up and back for tripod dog. Again, we're going to stay here for just a couple breaths. Really find all the strength you can through your fingertips and index finger mound, pinky mound, maybe even tiny bit lifts up the heels of your hands. Keep your right hip drawing back. And then when you're ready on an exhale, take your knee towards your chest or your nose. Place your foot between your hands toward your left thumb. Drop the right hand down. And then take your Anjaneyasana, arms lift as you're ready. Maybe shrug the shoulders back just a bit. And again, we're going to take 3 heart openers here. Breath in, prepare. Exhale, cactus arms. Again, always feel free to come out of the deep bend in your knee. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, deepen. Inhale, lift up. Enter anew once again. And then we're going to take that cycle. Hands press down, cycle all the way around. Interlace fingers opposite way. Drop your knuckles, lift up your chest, gaze up. Recognize this vulnerability, and then on an exhale, bow, show honor. Again, you might have belly or thigh, you might want to come out of a deep bend, or you might find that your shoulder is closer toward the inside of your left knee. Continue to scissor your thighs together for stability, and you can reach your knuckles up and away from you as much as feels appropriate. Then take your hands back down to your hips, release your hands down to the mat. Tuck your back toes, lift up the back knee. More weight to the right palm, left fingertips come up, low lunge twist. And then spin all your toes to the left. A little bend to your right knee helps you facilitate this. You're on the razor edge of the right foot. You can stay here, or if you'd like, step your left foot back, either stagger or left foot stacks on top of right. Flex your feet. You can stay right here. You can always drop the bottom knee, or if you'd like to move with me, reach your left arm up over your head, pinky facing down, bicep generally over your ear, lift your hips high, as though you could float away. Allow that gratitude and thankfulness to lift you. And then on an exhale, take your left hand down to the mat. If your left foot is forward, step it back, press up and back to downward facing dog. Then bend your knees, look towards the top of your mat, travel to the top, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Twice more like that. Breathe out long. Exhale. And once more. Come all the way up to standing as you're ready. Send your chin up and on an exhale, take your hands to your heart center. Keep your hands here or alongside your body. 5 breaths in your Tadasana, option to lift to your toes if you'd like. First breath is now. After your 5th exhale, release your heels if you'd lifted them. If your eyes are closed, blink them open. Lift your arms up toward the ceiling. Face your pinkies toward each other. Little bend to both knees. Step your left foot all the way back so you end up in a high crescent lunge. Maybe wiggle the left foot back. If you'd like, you can keep your heels stacked over your toes. Right hip pulls back, left forward. On an exhale, sweep your hands back and your arms back. Your palms are down, lean forward, but keep your belly in so you're not fully resting on your thigh. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, shoot back, reach forward. Inhale, lift up. 3rd time like that, find the broadness through your collarbones as though you're reaching into a cobra as you dive down. Inhale, back up. And then on an exhale, you're gonna open up to warrior 2 toward the long side of your mat. Make any adjustments that you need. And then take a little bit of a surf front and back. And then find the place where your shoulders are gently over your hips. Shred them back. Up your inner biceps upward toward the ceiling. Sit low. Drop your left hand to your thigh or to your low back. Flip your right palm up and then exalt. Arc back. On an exhale, come back to the warrior 2. We're going to move to an Ardha Chandrasana half moon pose. So if you know where you're going, go for it. If you want a little bit more guidance, take your left hand to your left hip, stack up onto your left toes. Reach your right hand out at an angle so your hand is to a bias of your right pinky, left leg lifts up. Flex to the left toes. And then if you'd ever like, left fingertips can come up. And again, we've been talking about levity, the power of your gratitude. Maybe hover your right fingertips away from the mat. If it's just for a moment, just try it out. Continue to breathe. Then take a little bend to your right knee. And then on an exhale, take your hands down to the mat. Take your left foot down to the mat. Ragdoll pose. You can take your hands into elbows or to your low back, something that works for you. And then release your fingertips back down to the mat. 3 times halfway lift, move with your own breath. And at the end of your 3rd exhale, make your way to standing. Keep your hands lifted. A little bend to both knees so you've got some buoyancy. Step your right foot all the way back. So you're in a high lunge. Once again, maybe wiggle the foot back, depending on how much distance you need between your 2 feet. And then 3 times like we did before, on an exhale, swing your arms back, palms face down, lean forward. The longest, strongest length in the crown of your head to the back heel. Inhale, come up. Exhale, sweep back. One more time, inhale, come up. Exhale, open up. Come back up to your high lunge, and then on an exhale, warrior two. Sit low. Again, maybe a little bit of a surf from side to side. And then finding that center place where you find balance. You're pressing as much through the right leg, supporting it as much as through the left. And of course, if you have a tendency to like overextend, keep the tiniest bend to your right knee here. Drop your right hand or take it to your low back. Flip the left palm, exalt. Maintain the deep bend. And then exhale back to warrior two. Ardha Chandrasana, lean forward, start to lunge forward. Maybe you can take a couple steps with the right foot, right hand to hip. And then take a special note that your heel is hidden behind your left toes and it's not angling in. And then again, maybe hover your left fingertips away from the mat, because why not? Your left leg has done so much for you throughout your whole life. Maybe it can take an opportunity to shine even a little bit more here. Still with your inhales, you expand, and exhales, you ground down. And then take a little bend to your left knee. Take both hands down to the mat. Release your right foot next to the other. Ragdoll pose. And release your fingertips to the mat when you're ready. 3 times, halfway lift. Move as you are ready. After that third exhale, root to rise. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Stay here, take arms to the sides of your body. We'll be here for 5 breaths. Option to rise to your toes or close eyes. First breath is now. The end of your 5th exhale, whenever that occurs. Release heels if you've lifted them. Make your eyes open if you had them closed. Inhale, take hands up to ceiling. Wrap pinkies toward each other. This time, bend through both knees. Lift up your heels. So you're in fierce pose. On an exhale, sweep your arms back, hinge forward. Maybe start to straighten your legs for drinking bird. I always think I'm gonna hit my head to the wall here. Inhale, come back up to your fierce pose, bent knees, maybe heels lifted still. Exhale, swing it back. Inhale, come back to your fierce pose. Exhale, third time to swing it back. This time, come back up to center, stand down, release your heels. Little bend to both knees, step your left foot all the way back so you're back to the high lunge. Exhale, swing your arms back. Feels familiar now, bow down. Inhale, lift up, high lunge. Twice more. Keep your right hip drawing back, spiking up to the left heel. Come back up to your high lunge when you're ready. Warrior two. 3 breaths once you get to where you're going. Flip your right palm, drop your left, exalt. 3 breaths. And then exhale, return back to warrior two and transition to your Ardha Chandrasana. Reach the right hand out, left leg will lift eventually. Maybe even bring your left toes in line with your nose rather than swaying out behind you. Stack left shoulder over right. And generally, most stable when your right wrist is below your right shoulder. So use your skeleton to your advantage. Maybe play with hovering your fingertips. Find gratitude for this play, for lightheartedness. And then when you're ready, a little bend to your right knee, come all the way forward to your forward fold. Give yourself 3 breaths here. Inhale, halfway lift, offer your heart. Exhale, fold. This time, step back to top of plank pose. Exhale, lower to or toward your mat for chaturanga, elbows graze in. Untuck your toes for your cobra pose or upward facing dog. And then on an exhale, take it up and back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. At the end of your third exhale, bend knees towards top of mat, and on an exhale, make your way to the top forward fold. 3 times halfway lift. Move to your own rhythm, your own breath, your own practice. And then root to rise. Take your hands up toward the ceiling. Keep your hands separate. Bend both knees, lift up through your heels. We'll take drinking a bird on an exhale. Swing your arms back, palms face down. Start to lift up your hips. Maybe your torso becomes parallel to the mat. Inhale, come back up. Maybe keep your heels lifted. Exhale, take it forward. Let your heart guide you and support you. Come up to fierce pose. Third time to drinking bird. Come back to fierce. Drop your heels. Sit for just, or stand just here for a moment. Your heels dropped. And then take a little bend through both knees. Step your right foot all the way back. High lunge, wiggle back as much as you need. And 3 times we'll sweep our arms on an exhale. Bring back, palms face down, lean forward. Inhale, lift up. Maybe even gaze up. Exhale, take it forward. One more time like that. Come back to your high lunge. And then on your exhale, enter warrior 2, opposite side. Once you get to where you're going, 3 breaths. Flip the right palm, drop the left, exalted warrior, 3 breaths. See how light you can get through your left heel, maybe even play with lifting it up. And when you're ready, back to warrior 2. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Reach forward, right leg will lift eventually. Hiding your heel behind your toes. Lengthening on inhales, grounding on exhales. And play with lifting up the left fingertips. Keep the longest, fullest breaths that you've cultivated, even here. And then bending through the left knee, release your hand on your foot, ragdoll pose. If you've taken any clasp, release your fingertips down to the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, step back to top of plank pose. Exhale, knees up or down, chaturanga to or toward your mat. Untuck toes for the back bend of your choice. And then on an exhale, make your way back to downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. Bend your knees. Look towards your hands, and on exhale, you're going to hop to a seat in the middle of your mat. Roll back onto your bum. You're going to take an savasana pose with bent knees. Hands to the backs of your thighs. Flex, point your toes. Shrug shoulders back. And then you can keep your hands here for a little bit of support because we're going to move to an Ardha Navasana, half boat. Or you can bring your arms out in front of you. It's totally up to you and how you're feeling right now. What suits your practice and your intention best today. On an inhale, extend legs out. Keep them hovering away from the mat. Keep your shoulder blades away from the mat. Look to your toes. Exhale, pull knees into chest. Try to keep your heels in line with the knees. Inhale, come out. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, come out. Exhale. Twice more. And then drop your feet, wrap your hands around your shins, and drop your forehead towards your knees. Allow your eyes to close. And then lift your head up, roll onto your back, extend your right heel toward the ceiling, take your hand to the back of your right thigh, or if you'd like to take full hand to toe pose, you can take your peace fingers to your big toe. If it's okay in your low back here, extend your left leg out. If you find your right hip really moves away from the mat there, it feels uncomfortable in your left hip flexor, then just keep it bent. Press up through your right heel. Press out through your left hip if your leg is extended. And start to use the strength of your arms to draw your leg closer towards your chest. Press down through both hips. So you find that your core becomes strong and stable. Every exhale, you start to draw your leg a little bit closer to you, knowing that as you press up through your heel, you might be limiting a little bit of motion here. All right, release the tension of the leg. Bend both knees, place your right foot into the mat, extend left leg up, interlace fingertips the other way. And then perhaps if you did so on the first side, maybe extend right leg out, flexing through both feet. Start to draw your leg closer towards you, the left leg that is. Pressing down through both sides of your hips. You'll notice that your core gets a little bit more tense as you do so. Let the muscles in your face relax. And then release the leg, bend both knees, place your feet into the mat. We're going to take a bridge flow here. So maybe shift a little from side to side so you can shrug your shoulders underneath you. Your shoulder blades are supporting you. Walk your heels in closer towards your bum. If you prefer to take a more traditional bridge, then please move there. I'll be guided through with the flow. Press through both feet. Inhale, wave your spine up. Reach your arms up and back. Backs of hands to touch the mat. Even lift up your heels. Keep your tailbone reaching toward the backs of your knees. Exhale, wave it all the way back down. Hands and heels, drop last. 2 more times like that. Inhale, lift. Extend back. You can always take your hands a little bit wider to provide yourself space. Exhale, wave it down. Articulating every curve of your spine as you come down. Last time like that, lift up. And then exhale, take it all the way back down. We're going to take a Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle. So walk your heels away from your bum just a little bit further, and then bring the soles of your feet toward each other. Take your knees out wide. Maybe press to the outer edges of your feet and your hands and arms, lift up your hips and slide your tailbone underneath you. Find the place where your back has a little bit more release. And if you'd like, you can take your hands to your thighs, belly, heart, or combination of any. And if this is a place where you feel that you can still offer gratitude with your eyes closed, then I invite you to move in that direction. If not, keep your eyes open and alert. Actively drawing to mind any of those things that do make you feel grateful. The breath in your lungs, your loved ones, special meals, any meals. And then you're going to start to walk your hands back towards the outsides of your thighs. And then slowly start to bring your knees back up towards center. And bring your knees in towards your chest. Your hands could be to your shins or the backs of your thighs, rock a little from side to side. Perhaps you'd even like to take a happy baby pose here. So from here, we are going to move to a downward facing dog. So there's a couple ways you could do this depending on what your practice is today. What do you need? So you might just roll over to one side and press up to downward facing dog. Or you might take a more dynamic approach by rocking up and down the length of your spine, rolling over your hands and knees and shooting back to chaturanga, whatever you like. Time to start to make your transition now. What speaks to you, and know that you will have other opportunities. This is not your only chance in the world. And then from your downward facing dog, take a very deep breath in and sigh it out. And if it feels right, try that once more. We're going to move towards a pigeon pose. So if you know that this is a pose that you prefer to do on your back, then make your transition there. Otherwise, inhale, lift up your right leg. And on an exhale, take your knee towards your right wrist and then pivot so that your ankle is in the same plane as your left wrist. Drop your left knee. Walk back. Take a glance over the left shoulder. Always got these tricksy legs, hands alongside your body. Maybe even take your hands to clasp at your low back. Gaze up. And then when you're ready, release your clasp, and on an exhale, come forward to your pigeon pose. Start to press your way back up. From your reclined pigeon pose, drop your hips over to one side. If you're on your back, then make your way to advantageous asana. Take your left leg out in front. Keep your right knee bent. But press into your left thigh. Adjust as you need. Inhale. Lift up. Pivot your torso over your left thigh. And on an exhale, reach for your foot. Your hands might come to your thigh, or your calf, your ankle. Rock a little bit. Get a little bit more stable. Lift up again. Send your hips down and back, reach your heart forward, extend your neck forward, and then on an exhale, come to your full expression of the posture. And then inhale to lift up halfway, look beyond your foot. Exhale, release the bind that you've taken. Come up, take your right hand behind you, fingertips away, about 12 to 14 inches. Stargazer pose, sweep your left arm around, come up onto your right shin. Left foot, reach your arm long. Maybe even start to bring your shoulder blades toward each other. Offering up, offering out. And then acknowledgement for yourself on an exhale. You're going to cycle all the way back down. You're wrapping your hips down, wrap over your hands and knees. Make your way back to downward facing dog. We're going to take pigeon on the other side. If you'd like to take a vinyasa, here's another chance. And then from your downward facing dog, inhale, left leg comes up, then back, and take your knee to your left wrist onto the mat. Put your shin across. Wiggle the right leg back. Take your hands alongside of you to give yourself stability. And check that right heel, pointing straight up. If you'd like, interlace your hands at your low back, opposite pinky on the bottom. Drop your knuckles down toward the floor, scissor your thighs together. Gaze upward. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, take your pigeon pose, your version. Settle in and surrender. Begin to remove yourself from the pose, exiting carefully, and then dropping towards your left hip. Lean back so you can bring your right leg around for Janushirasana, other side. Placing the foot into your right thigh. Expand upward and then pivot over toward the right. Exhale, reach your hands to wherever they land. Adjust once again. Press your left knee down and back. Press through your right hip. Reach your heart forward. Inhale, lengthen through your neck. Exhale. Take it down. Drop your left shoulder so it's in the same plane as your right side. And continue to breathe. Focusing on the exhalation. And then on an inhale, lift up. Exhale, break your pose. Left hand behind you for stargazer. Sweep your right arm around, come up onto your left shin, press your right foot. Wrap your shoulder blades toward each other. Offer out, press to the right toes. Press to the left hand. Again, as though you might float away. And then on your next exhale, rewind, cycle all the way back down. Roll over your hands and knees. Come to your tabletop pose. Your shins are parallel to each other. Shift your hips back to your heels in a modified child's. Inhale, rise to your knees, palms lift up, slide back. Exhale, bow. Inhale, keep your belly and heart low for a cow pose. Exhale, press up into cat. Press your hips back to your heels. Inhale, rise up onto your knees. Exhale, bow. This time, lift up and then slither all the way onto your belly. And then flip over onto your back. And the final posture of this class is Shavasana. If there are any other movements you need to take, and perhaps you'd prefer to take your Shavasana in a different orientation, perhaps taking Supta Baddha Konasana, legs up wall. Take the next several moments to make the adjustments as you need. Best for your gratitude practice today. And then begin the systematic process of letting go. Allowing your gratitude and consciousness to be revealed. Slowly draw in a deeper breath. And a very deep, slow exhale. And then before you flood your body with movement, send the intention of movement to all of your extremities, allowing that life force to become nearly palpable, and then begin to make some movement. Take as much time as you need. And then when you're ready, roll over onto your right side, pull your knees in closer toward you, perhaps using your right forearm as the pillow, or your upper arm, that is. Stay here for several moments, and then as you're ready, slowly make your way up to seated posture. Okay, this is the end of your time with us today as this community. Thank you so much for being here, and please take what you need from this practice. I'm so grateful for you being here, and if you plan on staying through the meditation portion of this class, then I invite you to stay. So if you've got any changes that you need to make, whether you need to sit on a prop, change your position, sitting on knees can be really comfortable, or perhaps you even have some meditation tools that you use, such as candles, incense, mala. Now's a chance to simply get yourself situated, re-engaging your mind. So I'll give you several moments to change your environment as much as you need. And then come to a place where you can find a comfortable seat, where you could be relatively still for some time. Again, finding the life back in your body. And then once again, allow your eye gaze to become softer. Maybe allow your eyes to close. And take a moment to reflect on all the things you're grateful for. Might be people you love, your favorite tree, getting to take a nap, being of service to others, and a myriad of other things that I am completely unaware of that you're grateful for in your life. Visualize yourself saying thank you to these things, to these people, to these experiences, to the things that you've created. And if at the moment you're finding trouble accessing some of the things you feel grateful for, request inner guidance for them to be revealed to you. Take a very deep breath in and exhale to release and let go. And for the next several minutes, I invite you to take the meditation practice that is best for you. Perhaps it is the reflection and visualization of offering gratitude, perhaps sitting quietly, removing any of your senses, becoming quiet, or perhaps using mala or other tools that you may use. And if you are using mala and you're looking for a mantra to say as you flow through each of your beats, or other way that you may be practicing, may I suggest, I am so grateful. As you're ready, and take as much time as you'd like, place one palm over your heart space and the other hand, the other palm on top of that. Breathing your heart into your hands. Sending your gratitude back to yourself. All the gratitude that you've offered to other people, experiences, things, concepts. Send all of that back to you. Be grateful for knowing that you are your own best teacher. And then on an inhale, reach arms out and up, palms press above you. And on an exhale, take your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows for clarity of thought, to your lips for clarity of speech, and return to your heart for clarity of action. Bow your head to your heart. Reflecting on all of those things that you are grateful for. Thank you so much for sharing this practice. Thank you for allowing me to guide you. I am eternally grateful for each of you, individually and as community. In the name of the highest good, namaste.